Hey guys, BW here, and we're back out in the garage. We're going to work on the gasser today, and this is a job it's long overdue, guys. I've been driving the car around for a year with the open seams on our quarter, the transition. It's just no body work in through here whatsoever, and over here on this side you can start to see like it's getting ready, a little tiny surface rust. So we're going to clean this all up, and we're going to weld these seams solid, and then after we weld the seams up solid, we're going to try Fiberall Light for the first time. I never used it, but I've used Tiger Hair and variances of it, so we're going to put a little bit of fiberglass all around it, and then we'll use Bondo after that, or a variation, Napa filler. Same stuff. Anyway, and then we're also going to fill this transition piece up here where the splash pan meets, and where the trunk lip and all that stuff meets. We're going to work on that stuff today. All right, the first thing we got to do is get the bumper off, and after we get the bumper off, before we do any welding, we're going to have to we're going to cut these wire ties loose for our vent, and it's got one bolt holding the vent in there for the fuel cell. So we want to take that out, and then we'll have extra line, and we're just going to move the fuel vent forward here so that it's not in between the quarters where we're going to be welding. we don't want that. And we're also going to pull the tail lights out just to clean and everything. And when we're ready to put the Fiberall Light on, I think I want to bolt them in and just use it as a guide. We'll put some masking tape on the chrome, and I want to use it as a guide because these quarters, they're nice and everything, but they're not perfect. You guys can see how it's a little high here. We're gonna have to blend some stuff, and we're gonna use our tail lights as a guide for that. But I'm getting way ahead of myself. Let's just work on getting this bumper off right now. It's only got 4 3/8 bolts that hold this whole bumper on. This is not a 55 sedan bumper or hardtop bumper. Obviously it's a wagon bumper, and the reason I chose the wagon bumper, first of all, I love them. I think they're really cool. Second of all, it has a spot for us to put our license plate. The original 55, you bolted your license plate on the deck lid, and we didn't want to do that, so this is what we got. Now I'm just going to work on getting this bumper off, and hopefully it doesn't take much to get it. I don't think it will. Get the tougher ones out, and then we'll bring the last two out that are on the rear horns. We'll do those last, and we'll have those real loose. I don't drop it on myself or damage anything, including myself. Like I say, last year, I got ahead of myself when we got the car out. Obviously, you guys can see, but again, I don't want to take this car too far apart. It's too much fun. I want to enjoy it, and that's the way we're going to do it. It's what I have. It's what I'm using. I don't want to stop using it. I've got the Nova in a million pieces. It's going to be at least a year before we can have fun with that. But it's going to be the same deal. It's going to be a driving project like this. We're learning as we go. This is a lot of the stuff we do here in this shop. It's the first time for us. So we're learning as we go. Bolts out. Them. Well, it wasn't too hard to get this bumper on, to get it lined up. It went pretty good. All right. All right, we got one bolt holding the whole shebang on, so we're gonna have to be careful when we get this loose and we hold it. It is kind of cradled in there. It shouldn't come crashing down. You know, I wouldn't think it would. I hope it does. It's kind of settled on the car. At least it looks like it has anyway. I never put any bolts on the quarter panel to bumper. There's a spot for it. I even put the reinforcement braces on the quarters, but I never put it in. And I think Dan from DD Speed, he gave me the advice. He's like, you put those on and you touch something with the bumper, you crinkle up your quarter panel. It kind of made sense. So I never put that on. He told me that like, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years ago. I took his advice. He's had enough of them apart, right? Okay, we got that off. Now you guys can see. We'll come over here and look. You can see. See how the rust is starting to come in. You know, it's just surface rust, but we'll get it cleaned up. All right. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, and I forget, I'm taking the gas line. It's not the vent line, the gas vent line. There you go. And you can really smell the fuel too, you know, with this vent here. You are wise to do this. You don't want to spend all this time putting a car together only to burn it down. Alright. I brought cutters over earlier. I tried to lay stuff out so I wouldn't have to run back and forth too much, but that idea failed. Don't worry, guys, we'll get that nice loop put right back in there when we're done. I'll show you. Alright, and there's our fuel vent. I'm gonna tape it up here. Let me get to see. Another thing I didn't think of, to get a little bit of tape so I could tape it up there out of our way. Further away the better. There we go. That should be good. Alright, that should hold up really well. Like I say, for the initial part of the job, we were going to take the covers off for the brake lights. Obviously the power is shut off to the car. You know, that's one of the nice things about having an emergency cutoff switch. You shut the power off anytime you want, not worry about it. If you have an old car, you know, it's always wise to unhook the battery, or you can put a cutoff switch anywhere in the circuit, and you don't have to worry about, you know, fires, garage fires, stuff like that. Got that off. I want to pull these off of there. Let's see how that goes. Oh, remember, these are just little clips that are in here. We harvested them off the old quarters. I can't remember if I put new ones in, because I do have a clip kit for these. We'll see. comes out. It does. You should be able to plug this. There we go. Very nice. Again, it's just got two plugs with a little thing in there. Stick that back in there out of harm's way. All right. There we go. No, I did end up putting new ones on there. I remember the old ones were kind of beat up, so I got some new ones. All right, so at this point, I just want to start cleaning all this old primer off and dusting off the rust. And that side's ready to go. Thinking that maybe we ought to do the exact same thing on the other side first. That way we're ready to go and jump back and forth to get this area cleaned up. And obviously we're going to close the deck lid and we'll try to minimize the mess. Plus it's a good spot to hold all the screws and we don't lose it. Like I say, as soon as we're ready to add the fiberall light, we're putting these back on because I'm going to use them as a guide. Because I do have to do, like I showed you, a little bit of build up on the. I'll show you how to do a little bit of build up on the top, just a little bit. You don't want to do that with filler; it's too thick. I feel like the fiberglass will be stronger, or half fiberglass, and then a thin thing of Bondo on top. Man, this screws in there a little goofy. I remember this one was a little tough. You can see where. Whenever putting quarters on a car, I think everything lined up pretty good. You see, the inside's definitely lower. But like I say, we put that fiberall light on there and then blend it with a little bit of plastic. I think it's going to come out nice. Something's going on with that one. It's a little messed up here. See, I messed up the clip putting it on. There it goes. I remember I tried to, these were way too high whenever I put them on. And I'll show you what I did in a minute. Now, I don't know if it was the right thing to do now or the wrong thing to do, but it's what I did. I'll show you in a second. Pretty nice, huh? Yeah, what I did was when I put these quarters on, I took my wafer wheel and I cut the bottom, and then I hammered this down, and then I welded it back together. And the brake lights are just a little tiny bit too high still at the top, but it wasn't quite a quarter, but it was 3/16 sticking up, and that's how I was able to correct that. Now you guys can see. Sorry about that, guys. The camera died again. It was overheating, it said. So I let it cool off for a little bit, but like I was telling you, I just cut along here, peened this down, and that's how we were able to get that light to fit better. While the camera was cooling down, I went ahead and welded this seam up and cleaned it out, so it's ready to go. I do want to put a couple spot welds down here where the sheet metal overlaps, but that's behind the bumper. But we are going to put a little bit of fiberall light there, so we might as well put a couple of tack welds to hold it nice and tight. That way nothing can get up in there. All right, and over here I just started welding these, and it's just, you know, a tack on top of a tack on top of a tack, keeping it cool, always cool to the touch. And we'll get this welded out and grind it up, and then we'll work on the fiberglass light. All right. Both sides ready to go, at least as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, this is the high side, and you can see how it goes to low. So we're going to favor this side with the fiberglass light, but we're going to make sure we get it right through the weld zone in case there's any pinholes we can't see. We're going to do a little bit along here where we welded this, maybe even a little bit on this ledge here. We're going to fill up through in here where the transition is here for the splash pan. It's not as critical here, obviously. It's behind the bumper, but we're just going to put a little bit there. I guess we'll call that a rust prevention. I don't know, but same thing on this side. All right, came out pretty good. This side's a little more, like, it's not as low right here. This side fought me a little bit, and like I said, when I put the panels back together, I put them just like the old ones came out. And this car was hit this way. Remember that the driver's side was quartered at one time on this car, so everything kind of jives that way, but it's close enough to where nobody will ever know the difference. Now, as far as it goes with this fiberglass light, I've never used this stuff. I mean, like I said, I've seen guys on the internet using it, and we're gonna try it. All right, we got these little, I guess we're just gonna need a little bit of this hardener. And I saw on Bad Chad, he was using liquid resin to kind of thin it out so it spread nicer. So I'm going to try a little bit of that too, adding some of this, and we'll see how it goes. I don't know. Like I say, I'm new to it, so we'll see. We're going to give this a try and see how it goes. Not sure, but it'll be all right. The resin comes with its own hardener, and this comes with its own hardener. I'm pretty sure that the hardener for the fiberglass light will activate the resin, but I'll put a drop or two on just to be sure. That's a pretty good sized golf ball of it. But like I said, I just wanted to try this out. I've never done it, so I don't know how much of this stuff I'm gonna need, but we're gonna find out. It's like a good bit of hardener. And like I said, I wanted to use, let me mix this down first. I had a squeegee right here. It's a big one. I don't know where my littler one is. Let's mix this and then see how it goes. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of resin to it. We'll see. I mean, it's just fiberglass, but I think I put too much on there to begin with, but like I say, this is a learning curve for me. There, I got quite a bit of up on the top. This is actually not bad. I thought this would be real stiff like the old Tiger hair. I may not need any resin in here, but I mean, I might put a little tiny bit on here, but it's pretty good, man. I mean, I don't have any complaints about it. I don't know what the working time is on this stuff. Just keep folding it over on itself, I guess. Quite a bit of the hardener up on the top of this. This spreader is a little big, but it's the only one I had. I thought I had a couple in there, and I guess I don't. I'll have to make sure I get some. Drag to wipe all that off here in a minute. Interesting. I actually thought this stuff was green, yellow. is gonna prove to you guys I ain't nobody, man. You gotta try. There's the paper. I guess I'm gonna have to use that knife to get down into the trunk area here. I guess the neater you can get it on, the easier it is going to be to work with. Starting to look that way to me. Ain't no Picasso, that's for sure. There you go. Said I wanted to put a little bit on the ledge of this. You see, I didn't put any, I bought that resin and I didn't put any on, because this stuff is really soft. I thought it was going to be a little stiffer to work with, but it's pretty soft. It may waste some. I don't know if I'm working fast enough. I don't know what the work time is on this stuff. And this spreader is way too big. But I'm kind of stuck with it right now. This spreader's way too big. It's just to get it on there. Not terrible. We're running out of time, I think. I think I mixed too much. Learned a valuable lesson there, and I wasted some material, but that's how you learn. Okay, this side, this stuff is strong, man. It's in there, right? And I mixed way too much. I probably put way too much hardener because the working time was what, 5 minutes? I don't even think it was 5 minutes. So we know we're going to back off the hardener. We're going to clean this off. I scraped it off what started there. It even though it was curing, it's in there, but we're going to redo it. All right, we still have to do, excuse me, around here, and we got this whole side to do yet. I got to get that dust off of there real quick. I cut this spreader way down. I mean, I'll have to go in and order some. I thought I had a bag of them, and I probably do. I just don't know where they are. And I cut this little one off of the one end I took off of there, so it'll fit in here, so I can do a better job of getting it down in here. All right, this came out surprisingly well for considering the mess I was making. You know, I always tell you guys, I am not an expert. And I got the dust cleaned off. I'm just starting to mix another batch. I'm putting a little less hardener in there, I think. I think that I got a dot right there, a little more, and hoping that that's a better ratio. We're gonna find out. Like I say, I'd rather mix 3 or 4 batches than have the mess like I had on the first one. I mixed way too much, but how else you gonna learn? Right? Never claim to be perfect. I am impressed with that stuff that over there on the driver's side, man, is that stuff really hardened up. Really sticking too. Also figured out I'm gonna want gloves. See, I put some gloves on. All right. We're gonna mask up when we sand this stuff for sure. All right. The learning curve continues as I wait in about 25 minutes, and it's still just a little tacky. And you can see it's a little lighter than the first one here. So I got to find that medium between that much and that much. A little more than that, but a little less than that. So that's where I'm at. So I'm just going to let this sit overnight, make sure it gets good and hard, and then we'll pick this up tomorrow. Okay, we got the fiberglass in. Looks pretty good. I mean, you can see where there's a little bit of buildup right there, down through there. Come out really nice. We're getting ready to put the Bondo on, and we'll see how that goes. Come over on this side. This side, when I put it together, it didn't lay over the same way as that side. I guess every piece and every side's a little different, but this side came out pretty nice too. Like I said, I had to redo this side this morning because of the mixture of the hardener, but I finally got it down. I think I know how to mix it properly now. But now we're going to switch back over to Bondo. I think the first thing I want to do is I want to put the tail lights and the bezels back in, and then we'll tape those up so that I have something to build off of. Bezels on. My brother's here, but he doesn't want to be on camera. So after we put the bezels on, there was still about an 1/8 inch up here. So we decided to put another thing of fiberglass on there, just because it's harder and stronger. And we'll sand at that a little bit, and then we'll shape it with some body filler. But I could have cheated with the body filler on the driver's side, but this side here, it's always been the funky side. It was really high, so we definitely needed to go with the fiberglass over here. So while we had it out, I put it on the tail light side too. So we're going to get that knocked down. Once we get that knocked down, we can work on it with some body filler. My brother masked up all the chrome so that we don't scuff any of that stuff up or get stuff on it. Okay guys, well, we got a coat, 2 coats of plastic on there, and it isn't too bad. So I just want to put I got some high build primer and a rattle can just for right now, and I just want to pile some on and both sides just to see where we're at. We're by no means done, but I mean it's smoothed out pretty good. and I just want to start finding the imperfections. And once we get those done, like I really didn't do much underneath here to the transitions to the splash pan, and we're not going to get crazy in the channels. We're gonna, you know, we're just going to make sure it's a smooth transition, but that's about it. You know, it's like you can see up in here, this edge isn't even close to done, but that's I mean, we haven't popped the trunk to work on that either, so that's going to be okay too. So let me get a couple coats of the high build on there, and then we'll take a look at it. You know, the primer brings out and shows you all this stuff, the little imperfections, the air holes and everything else, and where we still need to do a little bit of work. This side isn't too bad. We got a couple little small things we got to fix up on. We're not too far away from switching over to the 220 grid here, but we're still a minute away. And over here we got body work. You got to add a little bit of filler right along this lip. That's where I cut it and moved it down a couple years ago or a year ago or whatever, and where it built out right here, I gotta cap this off a little bit better. But we're getting there. You know, it's like it's not horrible. I mean, we got a little bit to do. So I'm not going to keep this video going any longer. It's long enough for this bit of body work that we've done, and I'm going to continue on tomorrow, and maybe I'll film a little bit and put out another little small video. But I need to put this car back together Saturday because I'm going to a car show. I don't care what stage it's in, but you know, I like to go, and I'm going. I'm going to keep using the car as we do stuff like this. All right, hope you guys are digging the content. If you do and you haven't yet, please consider subscribing. It doesn't cost you anything, and it sure does help me. All right, till next time, take care everybody.